Kevin Beets, a well-known gold miner and reality TV personality from the Discovery Channel's Gold Rush, has discovered through a DNA test that Tony Beets is not his biological father. For years, Kevin was the natural heir to the Beets mining empire. But what happens when the foundation your whole life was built on suddenly crumbles? When one undeniable truth forces you to question your identity, your past, and your future. And what if I told you, it all started with one simple DNA test? What if that nagging feeling you've had your whole life turned out to be true? The news may have come as a surprise to the world. But if we ask Kevin, there was a thought that had nagged him for years, like a whisper of doubt. The feeling that something was off was only made stronger when he noticed some strange glances at family gatherings. Growing up, Kevin always felt slightly different, like a piece of a puzzle that didn't quite fit. Still, he brushed it off. After all, he was Tony Beets' son. Until a single DNA test that changed everything. The truth has a way of demanding to be heard, no matter how much you try to ignore it. Eventually, Kevin decided he couldn't push the doubts aside any longer. Without telling anyone, he took a DNA test to put his mind at ease, but the results sent his entire world into free fall. Tony Beets was not his biological father. The man who had been his role model and prepared him to take over the family empire was not connected to him by blood. Within seconds, everything he had believed about himself was thrown into chaos. It's one thing to know it, but how do you tell the man who raised you that he isn't your father? There was no easy way to say this, but Kevin gathered the whole family and broke the news. For the first time, Tony Beets, the man known for his tough-as-nails persona, looked lost for words. Many tried to reassure him that family meant more than blood ties, but Kevin couldn't ignore what he felt. So why did he make the decision to walk away? Well, if you find out that your entire life was a lie, would you stay? Kevin felt like an imposter, staying in the family business after he spent his whole life trying to be the perfect successor. But that doesn't mean his decision to step back was any less shocking. For Tony, it was an unexpected and painful blow. Watching the son he had mentored for decades, walking away from the empire he had built. But here comes the real kicker. Kevin didn't just leave the Beets business. He joined Parker Schnabel. Why did Kevin Beets join their biggest rival? Over the years, Parker Schnabel and Tony Beets have been competitors, sometimes allies, but mostly rivals. So when Kevin, whom the world knew as Tony's son, approached Parker for help in building his own mining operation, he wasn't only distancing himself from the Beets family. Rather, he was allying himself with their biggest competition. Kevin struck a deal with Parker, purchasing a rock truck for a staggering $110,000. A clear signal that he didn't want to stay under Tony's shadow any longer. But what can you really expect when you betray a mining empire built on blood and sweat? Tony Beets, for one, is definitely not the type of man who takes betrayal lightly. Losing Kevin from the business was one thing, but watching him turn to Parker was like getting salt rubbed into his wounds. For years, Tony had decided everything to his mining empire, grooming Kevin to take over one day and take his legacy to new heights. But how on earth are you supposed to react when the same person he had trained had gone ahead to work with his biggest competitor? There is no doubt that Kevin's absence has left a void, and it's not just an emotional one. At the Beets mining operation, his younger sister, Monica, had to step up and take on a more active role in leadership. But can the Beets family really recover from this fracture? Would Kevin succeed on his own, or would he give in to the challenges? And more importantly, was this really a betrayal, or simply a son choosing to find out his own identity? If blood doesn't define family, what really does? Right now, the family is surrounded in chaos, but when the dust settles, Kevin Beets shall always be a part of the Beets family, even if he doesn't have to carry the weight of their legacy, which might be good for him. After all, family isn't just about blood. Family is defined by our choices and the bonds we build. Kevin didn't choose to leave behind mining or all the hard work he had done. He has simply away from an identity that no longer felt like his for the time being. It remains to be seen. Will he rise independently, proving that he can stand on his own? Or will the burden of leaving the Beets dynasty prove to be too heavy?